afternoon, and good evening, folks. It is Wednesday, May 29th, and this is Unbridled Live.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Hey.
I guess I'm supposed to do like names. Hi, I'm Genevieve. If you haven't been here before, I have really bad like hair day, so I'm in the hat, and I feel like it's a vibe. So
I'm Carly, and I am brought to you by Saddle Up LLC because that's my new identity now, and I have a hat on as well. But I've been wearing a hat every single day for the last year and a half.
oh my god.
I'm Melissa, and I missed the hat memo, but I am brought to you by Helmet Hair that I ran a brush through. So we're gonna go with it.
Perfect.
Well, and you just rode today, right?
Yeah, like I literally got off at like 7:30, so like ate really quick and got on. So
Yeah. I can't wait for those days to be back for me. I miss riding. It's
I
a bit rough,
bet.
guys.
I did spend 4 hours at the barn this morning, but I didn't get to ride. I
How
had a
does that
farrier
happen?
appointment,
Oh.
and I decided to try out Dorm Gel for Mr. Remington because he hates getting his shoes put on. And the last time I drugged him, I used expired Ace and it did nothing. So I just bought some Dorm Gel and I gave it to him. And of course, you're supposed to give it to him an hour before, basically, to give it time to set in. So I had to get to the barn 30 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes before the farrier was supposed to be there, catch all three horses, drug my pony, wait like 30 minutes for the farrier to get there. The farrier appointment itself took like an hour and a half, and then I had to clean up after my ponies and then put all three of them back. And of course, they all go in separate directions on like 30-acre property.
Oh my
Like you
gosh.
have to walk all the way over there and put them all away. And then part of me was like, do I need to stay a little while longer for Remington? Because he was still kind of droopy. It was successful, by the way. The Dorm Gel
Good.
Okay.
did wonders. He barely got fussy at all, as opposed to rearing straight up in the air and, trying
Oh
to keep my
no.
farrier. So, yeah, today was a success. Dorm Gel for the win. But now I'm just dreading every 6 weeks is going to be 4 hours at the barn. Getting to
Why do you
stare at
have
my
to,
ponies.
have you always had to drug him for the farrier? Is that a new thing or?
Shoes. He doesn't like his feet being
Oh,
tapped on.
yeah.
He just
There's
decided the first time he was shooed, it was not a super big deal, but he was agitated, like
yeah.
had zero patience for it. Well, we got through it. Then it just progressively got
Every
worse
time.
with
Yeah.
every 6 to 8 weeks that the farrier came out. And we have been shoeing now for almost 6 months, which I don't know, do the math. It's like the fifth time he's been shooed, sixth
Yeah.
time ish. I don't know. Um, the farrier like 2 times ago was like, just let's try like giving him a sedative and see how that goes.
Let's try drugs.
And and I don't know why it didn't cross my mind. I thought I could train it out of him.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I really did. I thought like maybe we could work on it. I would just pound his feet and we would go back and forth and try some different training methods. And he was great for me, but as soon as the farrier showed up with his actual tools and actually pulled the shoe off, it was like straight back up in the air. So the Dorm Gel works wonders, and I'm hoping not to drag this conversation out too long, but when I first got him, I don't know if you remember, Genevieve, how he was horrible about being clipped.
Yes.
And we did have to give him a sedative to get through the clipping process. And that was kind of, I mean, I only clipped him, like once a year, maybe twice at the max. And I gave him, I think, Ace for that process for 2 or 3 years. But then for the last 3-ish years, I haven't had to drug him at all. And he's been
Sometimes it's
fine.
just like not having a stressful event, right?
Exactly.
Exposure.
Exactly. So I don't think long term I'm going to need a sedative, but I think just let's make some good experiences for a
For
bit.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could always think about just bringing him in right before and then drug him and do him last.
The other two are just like little trims though. And he's literally
Uh,
done both of them in like 15 minutes.
Must be nice to be simple.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you keep your ponies in shoes, Melissa?
I have a variety. So, um, let's see. Show for like years and years and years was always in shoes, and she was in a bar shoe for her tendon, and
Mm-hmm.
so. But I just
It's
after the
expensive.
cycle, it was, but it
Yeah.
it really made a difference in like healing that tendon. So
Yeah.
actually, like the last cycle, I pulled her shoes for the first time, and it like I almost cried because it was such a I didn't realize like it was like so big. Like I'm really like admitting that she's like never gonna be like rideable again and all those things. But
Oh,
I already knew like it's been like
Yeah.
that for almost 6 months now. But like so she was in shoes when she was in work. Stella wears shoes. She just kind of has thinner feet. I actually had Shy in shoes for almost a year because when I first brought her into work, she got kind of footsore because she had never really worked hard. And we actually
Mhm.
pulled them I got a new farrier last year and we pulled them and she has been better than she ever has them. She grows a ton of foot, like a ton. Like he takes like huge amounts off when he comes every 6 weeks. So, and then Flynn has to be shod during the summer now, is what I figured out. He doesn't like to work if he's barefoot. So he was like a total pill, and I was like, all right, let me see if like shoes will fix it. Farrier put shoes on him. He's like, I'm good. So
good.
Yeah.
I have a variety. So
I'm so blessed that my ponies are all at this point barefoot right now. Like that is the one blessing with Appaloosas, I feel like, is 95% of them have really great feet and then 5% have horrible feet. So we got a comment here. Kimberly, that's why I started thinking sedatives the equine dentist to make the first visit a positive visit. So yeah, we're lucky that our equine dentist does like the old style manual like files, and so actually many of our horses don't have to be sedated. But anybody who actually has like a vet coming out to do it, typically, I mean, they would sedate them for that.
yeah, mine all get sedated. They go to the
Yeah,
vet for the day, and he does them when he has time, and then I pick them up when I'm done or when he's
that's
done.
kind of nice.
It's really
I need
nice.
that for a farrier, like a drop off service.
I
That'd be
know
nice.
for my vet it works better because he like does them in between appointments, and then I just work for my parents' house because my parents live like 5 minutes from the vet, and I live 40. So
That's awesome though.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we just got a memo that our vet is actually shutting down. So Hoof and Paw here in Percival, they're shutting down the equine practice, like
Oh
effective
no.
immediately. All of the equine people just quit, type thing. And so, yeah, we just got a notice. It's like, oh my gosh, now we've got to go find a new vet. That's crazy when you've had somebody for the same person for so many years.
That's insane.
that sucks.
Yeah,
It's really common though. Like I've seen it a
it
lot.
is.
Like there's not enough equine vets out there.
I keep thinking, I'm like, man, I should go back to school and become a vet, but it's just like the numbers don't make sense. It's crazy. They just don't get paid what you feel like they should, for their time and
Yeah.
expertise. So, yeah,
And
pretty
then you
nutty.
just live your life on call. And I don't know if I could handle that.
Yeah, yeah. And the raging people. I mean, yeah, talking to Caroline,
Yeah.
that's been eye opening.
Right.
Some of the difficult situations. So, you guys, MA1 is coming up this weekend. No,
MA2.
MA2, because we just finished MA1 2 weeks ago. We're like that with our scheduling. So, MA2 is going to be in Pennsylvania again. And we've got nationals then coming up in July. And I'm checking the calendar now because I think there's a Southern Series competition coming up too.
It's
It's
not
like
this
right
weekend, but
between.
next weekend.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
many.
the Southern Series 2 is on June 8th and 9th. And then our little Sun and Fun thing is next June 29th. And then we roll into nationals, which is crazy. It's crazy how like we wait all winter, I feel like, and you're just like pining for the competition season, and then it's here and gone in like 5 months. Like it's so
It's insane.
fast. This is what I was talking to Carly, and we're like, man, we should move down. Like we should go live between the northern and southern regions so that you can make it down to Florida in the winter.
Yeah, we're too far. Like I feel like I'm too far north to do the Florida stuff. It's a really long haul. Like going to Georgia, like where I'm going for Southern Series, it's south of Atlanta and it's almost 10 hours at least by the time you
No, thank
get
you.
past Atlanta. So it is a hike.
Yeah.
I
I
can't
don't know if I
imagine
can
doing
make it that
another
far.
day past that. So
No, I feel like I'm maxed out at like 4 or 5 hour drive. Like I can't do much more than that.
The Pennsylvania one's bad. I mean, it's like 7.5 with stops. Like,
Yeah,
it's gotten a lot easier. So
I feel like you kind of get into a groove. We used to do the 8-9 hours to Majestic, Ohio, that area. I think it was 8 hours for us. Yeah, and I mean, so that's a hike, but I don't know. I feel like, especially if you can carpool, that's the biggie. It's when you're driving alone that it gets really, really difficult. But if you can just get somebody else in the vehicle with you that can help like offset the driving, it gets a lot easier.
The time flies so much quicker. I swear when I ride with Linda in the truck, it feels like the time just flies so much quicker because we're talking about something that happened over the weekend or how we felt, we did ride wise. But like if I'm just in the truck, I'm like squeezing and pinching all of my muscles and just thinking about I can't wait to be home. I can't wait to be home.
Yeah,
especially after the competition when you're tired.
Oh yeah, on the way home. Yeah, I actually just like got Rob, my husband, to come to. He's gonna go to Atlanta with me. He had to like make it work at work because I was like, there's no way, I can drive that on Sunday on the way home. Like, if I have to, I will, but like that's a long, long drive back up. So I definitely
How
prefer to
far
have
is
someone
the
else.
drive?
The GPS says that it's like 8.5, but that is a lie.
That means like 10.
Because you
10.
hit every single major city on the way down. Like, I can skate through Cincinnati, and then you have to time Lexington, Knoxville, and Atlanta, and technically Chattanooga if you like don't skate past it. So it's a game. But
I'd like to make it down there though. I'd like to get next year. Like my goal is, to get to a couple of USMGA competitions as well, just to get the experience, but also the exposure to riders that you just haven't seen before up here. I know we've got like pretty healthy pool of riders, so we obviously have quite a bit of exposure. But when you've been with the organization for like 20 years,
it's fun to get
you know most of the people. Yeah.
So
it's a little bit more fresh, but
that would be fun.
It'd be nice if we had more like larger sanctioned pairs competitions too. And I feel like I'm delusional and think that USMGA does.
They have some, but it's usually not like huge. I think it's hard to get some people to come out for pairs. So
yeah, it's the same with individuals.
I love individuals. Like, I really want to do individuals on Stella. She's such like I'll go back up the field kind of pony. Like, I want to do it so bad. But
there was one time years ago, so this was like 2014 or 15, where we had Jefferson County Fairgrounds, and they actually did like a jackpot individuals competition. And so they took all of the entries and they put it together as a like prize pool of money. And I think like first place got like $500 or something. And then second place got like $300. But yeah, so they just charged like a little bit more as an entry fee, but then they did that for the open competition, which was pretty cool. You just felt like you're actually like competing for something. I remember being there and I was like in the top 5 for a lot of it, and then higher for some of the other stuff. I think Brett actually won that whole thing. But you just feel really good in individuals when you can kind of like make the heat, because you're like, okay, it's the whole team dynamic, and working through that is difficult, but maybe like I'm not terrible at this particular race. Like maybe I'm successful here. That's huge.
Yeah, I think one time that I came up for nationals in like 2016, 2017, they did like an individuals on that Friday.
The Friday,
and that was really fun.
It is. It's like, guys, I don't know. There's so many people too, and I bring up like switching to individuals for the Sun and Fun type stuff. They're like, no, I won't ride if it's individuals, and I'm like, I don't understand you.
I don't get that.
I get it. Everyone has an opinion, but a lot of people, I think they do it for the social outlet, right? To be able to ride with other people, and I'm like so introverted that I prefer to ride alone most of the time anyway. I want to ride with my own grievances. So we definitely need to try to get something like that organized. It'd be cool if I could do the Gobbler Games, like, again, not this year, but the following year, and then do like a segment that's just individuals for people who want to. Yeah. That would be cool in the indoor. But I don't know, how far is Jersey from you?
I think it's pretty far. I know. I haven't I remember looking at the Jersey competition last year and was like, that might be a little bit too far. Mostly like the concern is the drive home on Sunday for the ponies.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't really mind. Like Friday's not a big deal, but like to put them in the trailer, it's hard to like put them in the trailer for 13 hours
Yeah, that's a little much.
on Sunday, just because I mean our like up until like last year, like we didn't really haul that far.
Yeah.
I mean, we hauled, here and there, but and my ponies haul out almost every weekend in the winter, but it's like 30 minutes, not
Well, you're really close to a lot of the USMGA stuff in that area, right?
Yeah, we always were. They were always about 2 hours away because we're just north of Cincinnati, so we were really close. But I also didn't have a truck that could go that far. Because 2 hours
So that keeps
was
you
all
close.
my dad could. He's like, I can rent a U-Haul and come get you, because I drove like a.
Wait, I didn't even know they did that. Wait a second.
You can get you can get a U-Haul with a trailer hitch, and
Not
then
for
he's like,
gooseneck, though.
basically, I can come get you 2 hours,
That's true.
like.
So you could do that for a bumper pool.
That's another reason you need a bumper pull trailer. Like,
I have the little Kenny trailer. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
now we've got a backup plan.
Yeah.
That's why I kept my bumper pole. We bought that gooseneck, and I kept my good old bumper pole. Like, if there's an emergency, like my parents have a vehicle I can pull it with. Like,
yeah. Actually, I'm thinking like next vehicle might be a nice hefty SUV with a bumper pole.
Yeah.
Babyface doesn't understand individuals very much. He knows now that the handoff means he's finished. Otherwise, he won't relax. But he's odd. That's fair. My horse is, I don't know. Handoffs are always like a big deal. I feel like my horse, when there's no handoffs, is just a different animal altogether. He gets so fired up over it, like the incoming horse and everything. Yeah. And he's not a good starter because he also gets fired up over a whistle and a flag. So I guess.
He gets fired up over a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like trauma. Baby face is special, says Kimberly. I totally agree. So did you guys see that we are finally to the point now, after years of people being frustrated that there was not enough open teams, of having 2 heats in open? 2 heats.
That's guys. Incredible.
It's pretty crazy. I was kind of thinking about it and like, all right, how as an organizer could you handle this? Because I think we've gotten so spoiled to have 8 teams in the arena competing against each other at the same time. And now it's like, okay, well, how do you grow as an organization? Like, what if you have that 9th team? What do you do? Like, do you kick them out if they're already full when it comes to intermediate novice? Like, where do you put them? So I think they had to split us into heats. I don't think there would have been another way of doing it. The question is then, when you split heats, how many do you leave in A final and how many do you put in B final? I feel like that's where there's always some controversy. In the past, right? I remember when I was growing up with MGAA and we had like a lot of turnout for open, we would have A, B, and C final in open, like consistently. And this is back when I was in my teens. So like, this is like 18 years ago or something, but ABC finals, and you would have 4 teams in each, like, so, which is crazy. But because the arenas were smaller, you had to split them into basically sets of 4.
Right.
Whereas here now you got the capacity to go up to maybe 8 lanes. I think we only have 8 lanes of equipment, I want to say.
I think that's all you can run in the IMGA rulebook. I think they cap it at 8.
Because of the size.
Yeah, I think it's for like safety.
Yeah.
I think that's an IMGA thing. Like, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's an IMGA. Like, they only run 8 lanes over there as well. Like,
I was going to say, like, it starts to get unmanageable. But I wanted to bring it up, guys, because we've got some people in the chat, some people who've been with the organization for a while. Like, what are your thoughts on running heats, as someone who's learning as an organizer, but just in general? I mean, it's a lot to take in as an organizer. How do you shovel things?
I have questions, but I don't have answers to my questions. I've seen that for the most part, any time that there have been heats scheduled for whatever division I'm riding in, for the A final and B final on Sunday, they always put like a ton of riders in the A final and just a couple riders in the B final. And it's kind of disappointing to me because it feels like I don't get to really compete. And maybe it's disappointing to me because I'm usually riding maybe in the lower rung, right? But I feel like not as fun when you don't get to ride against other people, as many other people as you're used to. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same when you can say, "Oh, I'm the top of B final." Yeah, you're only competing against 2 other teams, so, whoop-de-doo. Like,
Yeah, I felt like back in the day when we did like more awards as a kid anyway, it was like, all right, even if I got first place in B final out of 4 teams, like I still felt like I achieved something.
yeah,
But since you don't really walk away with that keepsake a lot of times, and mind you, a lot of times there's votes and people don't want them. So I'm not
right.
saying this is on the organizer, but it's just like, yeah, you get out there and I think on Sunday, if you don't qualify into that A final heat, you kind of feel a little bit like, well,
It's a total
we're
bummer.
just riding. Yeah, it's a bit
Right.
of a bummer.
Especially somebody
So
who's, like, newer to games, and wasn't a part of that whole ABC final back in the day, and
yeah,
splitting up into heats is, I think I've only experienced it just minimal times. Probably last
yeah,
year might have been the first time we got split up into heats, and then this year would be the second time. So it's, I don't know. I don't know. Zoe
yeah.
says hi.
We've got some comments here. My eyeball's itchy.
Joy says she's riding until 3:30 and won't be home until like 2 a.m. on Sunday. Ugh, I know. Oh,
It's hard
25
though,
then.
guys.
Yeah.
It's hard as an organizer in this situation. Like,
It's always going to be somebody.
yeah, it's always going to be somebody. And to be honest, like, they could either start, like, they could start 025, but then likely there's going to be parents that have kids that are still going to be held over, to ride later. And also,
Right.
they want to have the more mature help kind of later into the afternoon so that people don't just bail. So it's difficult. I always wonder about that. And there's always like organizers have different preferences, I think, in putting like open earlier, putting 025 later in the day. And then obviously on like Saturday, having 025 go very first. And so it's like kind of biased, I think, a little bit.
Mhm.
But I don't know, at the same time, I always look at the schedule, even for the Sun and Fun stuff, and I'm like, man, like there's only so much room for growth for you to kind of expand and get all the divisions in and make sure that you have the help. That's the biggie too. Like getting the ring crew support. And we have so many incredible parents like at our local stuff that step up, which is amazing. But I'm always like kind of stressed about that. It's like, okay, well, if I run this division here, people are going to show up late, which means we won't have the help there, which isn't necessarily bad, but you've kind of got to offset things as you go.
Right.
So yeah, it stinks to ride until 3:30, but also how else do we grow the sport, or do we start turning teams away? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it becomes like one of those things, and that's why I think there has to be that focus and discussion on growth. Like, what do we do? What if do we want to keep growing as an organization? And then what do you do as far as fitting enough teams in, or do people start getting turned away? Like,
Ride less races. I mean, that's what it's going to turn into, because I don't think they're going to turn people away.
well, it already like intermediate and novice, I think, get squished together now.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, you could put people in open. You could put intermediate, I guess, against open. That might, but it's always like as an organizer, I feel like that's one of the big things, and it's not like they have a good guidebook to make those decisions. Like you kind of have to iron it out as you go, and someone will always be unhappy with you. So
Right.
like,
You really got to wing it. Trial and error.
yeah, exactly. There was all right. Kim released the dragon. Okay, I think that was about Babyface.
Or
Val was saying that so we used to have the ABC finals when there wasn't intermediate or novice. Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting evolution, right, for MGAA, because it started as like they kind of mirrored, I think, USMGA, and really they had kind of a catch-all division. So you had kind of like your open sort of division that everybody could compete in, and then they had created novice. And I remember I rode a novice, and I was walk track cantering like games and everything, but I rode a novice to stay out of open at first because it seemed like the right place to be, because it was basically high level intermediate competition. And then some kids, kind of came into the sport like little kids, and they got a little bit frustrated with competing against people who are older. And so now they split into intermediates. Now we've got 3 divisions. We had the open or the master's level at the time, and then you had intermediate, and then you have novice. And then a bunch of parents decided they wanted to ride and they wanted exclusivity. And so then you ended up with this 025 division, which all of that's great. It's growth. But now as an organizer, you have people that are being slotted, and so you have way less flexibility in your schedule. It's kind of hard. Zoe was saying bigger facilities like Morven with multiple rings would help. It's true. We need multiple sets of equipment though.
Right.
Which isn't bad. It's a
expensive.
lot, Yeah.
I mean, to build one lane for home is like, and I don't even have like regulation equipment for most of my stuff. Like it's just like pieced together. So I can't imagine trying to like continually build. I know you guys, there used to be like a fund or something where they built like a whole set of equipment. I think.
That's where they got kind of the 8 lanes, but expensive. I was looking at joust boards because joust is one of those things I don't feel like we get to practice a lot. And we have one for our farm just that we got over the years ago. And a quote for 4 lanes was $1,200. Like
that's 4.
Like, oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Yeah.
For one race. One race that you literally are gonna lug out there, set up, and it's gonna be done in literally like 15 seconds.
I know. I've never actually gotten to practice joust in my whole life. Like I never owned it. I never I would always just go out there and just like hope I hit it and move on because it was too much. It was too expensive to try to like buy one just to practice it.
And it's like I was thinking about that with sword. I don't know why, because I'm not sleeping anymore. I just lay awake at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, sword handoffs. Sword handoffs. And I was thinking, where was I? And it may have been Krista who gave this feedback like years and years and years ago. And I was thinking about the fact that some people were talking about having issues hitting the target in joust. And I was like, how we target joust, what we're looking at. And I was like, it's really hard to target sword. This is Jen's brain at work. Anyway, Krista had told me years ago, she was like, you focus on the very underside of like the circle because you can't focus on something that's not there. You can't focus on like the absence of space. Like, because it just moves, right, as you're going. But anyway.
It's so trippy. I'm sorry. I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
She was like, yeah, so you have the circle and just like focus on the bottom side of the ring of it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like really interesting. So anyway, just these little skill sets and stuff that you really don't get to practice very often. And even the rings that they have now for sword are like custom. And so much of this stuff has moved to regulation custom equipment that
I know
it's expensive. Wait,
what?
Interesting, Val.
Hobo joust. I'm here for that.
Yes.
I'm gonna be doing
on
this.
A tall cone.
Put a ball on a cone. You can hobo joust.
On a tall cone.
You just
Yeah.
Now I want to try it.
But you got to get it the right height.
Joust. Most cost is probably the middle. I mean, but do you need the right height? Because what if you're on a short pony?
Or tall pony.
Or tall pony. Technically, you got to be able to aim, right?
It's got to be. Well, I'm just saying, don't point your. It's not so you're having to point your joust stick
to the ground.
To the ground.
We almost need target practice, right? But I love the hobo joust idea. That's such a good idea, Zoe, on this. So cool. Guys, in the comments, any other cool tricks when you can't afford regulation equipment for you to practice some of these tricky races? Or what are some exercises?
High-low. Okay, how can I hobo high-low? Because, okay, go.
Okay, so I'm the queen of hoboing equipment because my dad is super handy. He built me wood base, bending poles. I mean the whole shebang. He's awesome. But you can take a piece of PVC, go hang out in your plumbing aisle. Take your bending pole with you. Okay. You just need a Y. They make a Y.
Okay.
For your, and I can send links to this, but you can they make a curved Y. That's what would be for a P trap.
Right.
And then you put a piece of PVC off the top of it, and then you literally just have to hobo a ring. I'm sure you could use you could even get a dryer duct. I mean, I can definitely I can do this at Home Depot this weekend and send a picture. You can definitely do it.
Yes, please do. I just need to go to Home Depot and just walk the aisles.
You do
all of my little equipment.
There's so much out there that you can just make. I used to use cupcake frosting, the frosting containers. Those were my mugs because I couldn't afford to buy metal mugs.
Yes.
Like,
That's so smart.
Yeah.
that's what we had, and like we ate frosting, and I would take it and I'd duct tape it so that when you like stepped on it, it didn't splinter and like hurt
Yeah.
your horse. But I mean, I was like a kid who watched Prince Philip Cup and then read the Pony Club handbook. Like that's how I
You learned,
learned how
yeah.
to make my equipment, and I was like, all right, Dad, this is what I need, and he's like, okay, and so we like made it work. So there's all
Oh my
sorts of
gosh,
stuff
now
out
I'm
there.
like, we need to make a hobo's guide to mounted games.
Yes!
Yeah.
That's what I lay in bed and think about, Genevieve. You think about sword handoffs. I think about how to make hobo games equipment because I am not buying all this
I didn't
stuff.
buy any like regulation equipment. I didn't compete with any of it until probably the last 2 years. I've like had the budget to be able to go out and buy like
Invest.
actual equipment.
Yeah.
So I
That's,
can
yeah.
definitely hobo some
There's-
equipment.
So we had Val who commented and said, Hilo's easy, use a hanger and a pillowcase.
Okay.
A hanger and
A
a
hanger.
All I can see
You could
is
take like one of the steel
Yeah.
hangers and make it like, okay, so you could
like
make the hoop
ring.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joy said, I use an orange bag for the net. Ooh, like one of those fruit bags. That's really smart.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kim, Home Depot episode, how to make games equipment on a budget.
We gotta go to Home Depot and live stream.
I need like a rainy day, and yeah, we just go to Home Depot. Would be great.
Yeah.
Zoe was asking, do you use tall cones for your hobo joust, Val? I'm curious. That's pretty clever. Any other tips and tricks, guys? Any other crazy? I'm trying to think. So obviously, if you're just trying to make like on a budget, your bending poles, everybody says go get your paint cans, fill them with concrete, and put your poles in. That's what we always did for years and years.
Right.
Having regulation bases like is a novel thing now, and I'm just like so impressed with the parents who do like go out and just buy regulation equipment for their kids. I'm like, you guys are so blessed. Like there are those of us who had to get creative.
Your average bottles like can be bought in bulk from Uline. If you didn't know that, they're like $1 a pop, but you have to buy 12. So
That's
you just like from like that stuff's all from Uline, and you can make them, and that you just buy like a whole set, make 4 bottles, and then you get enough to make like 8 litters. So you just cut the end off and tape it to make litter.
Oh, that's smart. What about rings for sword?
I definitely took a lid to a storage tote and like cut the shape of a sword ring out.
That is such a good idea.
Just one.
Well, I mean, like I think I ended up with like 2. Now they do not feel like regulation sword rings, but they're way harder to get. So like, if you can get that off a pole, you are fine. So
okay. How do you make a sword?
Oh, that's easy. You get 2 pieces of PVC pipe, and you
duct tape it.
Duct tape it
with a little contraption.
Yeah, just to make your little. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even do that. Like I literally just like
just did like a stick. Yeah.
Like literally 2 sticks like this.
Yeah.
So.
We had Val is speaking of here. She said, I didn't have proper equipment for a long time, probably right before I married. I practiced with straight sticks and buckets. And when I was teaching myself windmill, croquette mallets in a bucket.
What is windmill?
Windmill? What is windmill?
What?
Are you talking about like polo? Is that a polo cross? Is that a polo thing?
Oh, isn't that like... I don't know. It's like a windmill, right? Oh, Joy made a 4-flag holder. Go back to Joy.
Oh, wait. What did she say? I made a 4-flag holder out of a block of wood and some pieces of PVC pipe.
That's
a really good idea.
Please.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense, right? Because you just drill the holes into the base. As long as there's some weight to it, that would be awesome. Yeah. Melissa, what about your concrete bucket with PVC pipe for flags?
I made a homemade 4-flag holder. So I basically think of like what you do for a bending pole. And I just stuck 4 pieces of PVC in it, and then that was my 4-flag holder.
I'm telling you guys, we need to have like an afternoon.
That baby tipped. It was like, I made it small. It was like the base was like the size of this. Like my mother's had to play with it. Like if you breathe on it, it right over.
That'll teach you how to learn.
Yeah, but you learned, especially with Show, because man, she would like tap it because she was a spinner at 4-flag when you were done. Oh my god, this cat. I warned you.
Val was saying she's pulling the flag windmill. Oh, where they do the flippy
Oh.
thing.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know
Got
that's what it was
you.
called.
I did not know there was a
Kimberly.
name for that.
Kim got it.
Interpreting windmill, twirling the flag swing.
Kim says hi, cat.
Oh my gosh. You know, I noticed that about Thomas. He excessively windmills
Just like
his
flipped it like 40
flags.
times.
He's just like
He's like, look how
with
cool
the
I am.
face too. Like he totally like as soon as he has it, it's not even essential. He's just like
I'm
like,
afraid I'm gonna
what
drop
do
it if
you
I
mean?
like. I'm gonna get that up, and then if like I don't want to move it again because I don't want to
Right.
drop it.
Right.
Yeah, I just whip it back and then I come straight up because I feel like my horse goes so quickly from the cone to wherever I'm handing off. Like I don't have time to go around like, you know, 3 times over. Val said, our first camp, we taught hobo equipment making. I'm telling you, this is a video series, guys.
We need to make a
There's a
book.
lot of, yeah, make a little digital downloadable guide here.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean but that gets a lot of people into the sport because
Yeah,
I mean buying regulation equipment is impossible. Like if you're just getting started, like you'll go spend $50 at Home Depot to like try it out, but
exactly.
you know,
Right.
Yeah,
A lot
no, I
different
mean,
than $300 to
right,
have like the basic stuff.
right,
$300 just for a set of bending poles.
right. Which now, like, those are my dream bending poles.
Yeah.
Because I have like the old step-in ones that I bought used from someone that were like probably 20 years old. But hey, like they are out there and they survived the winter.
Yep.
But like, do I want a pair? Absolutely. It's just it's hard to set aside. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a lot of hay. Like,
Yeah.
Talking about that. And hay is so. Do you have to feed hay through the summer too? Like, do you stall and do hay, or are you one of those people
so
that
yeah,
turns out, or?
my two girls, so Stella and Shy, are both Cushings, and so Stella actually had laminitis, and so she's not like supposed to be on grass for a while. So like we're building up to about an hour a couple times a week. Shy
Yeah.
was on it until she was diagnosed, and like last year I turned her out for an hour with a muzzle, and her leg swelled up. So they actually I have like a formal dry lot with footing and everything, so they live in the dry lot.
So hay
So
all the time
a
for
lot
you.
of hay. I go through out in the field a round bale a week, like out in the dry
Wow.
lot, and then but I
What are
live in a
round bales
very
costing you?
so the expensive convenient round bales are about $70.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But like I live in a very, very hay rich area or hay dense area.
Mhm.
I'm very fortunate. So like there's tons and tons of it around us. So you can still get squares for $4 to $6.
That's
Like
great. Yeah.
big, heavy, like clean squares. So
Good.
and then round bales are usually more like 40, 45 in the summer, maybe 50. So I'm very fortunate because I know
That's
it's
good.
definitely not that cheap for
You're
everybody
living in
else.
2018, girl.
I know.
Yeah.
I see people spending like $13, $14, $15 a bale. I'm just like, I pay too
Yeah.
much hay for that. Like, I
It's
can't.
ridiculous. I was in California and I went by kind of the horsey area near one of my vendors, and it was literally they were saying that it's like $42 a bale,
Yeah.
like a square bale. Dude,
Right.
these horses don't get turnout because there is no turnout. So it's literally they live on hay. Like that's why it is a rich people sport. Like in
Yeah.
these
I
other
mean,
places.
I just think about it like I feed a ton of hay, but that they don't get turnout like on grass. So they have a round bale out there pretty much 24/7. Like that would cost. I mean, like literally, like you couldn't afford
So
it. You couldn't
much.
afford it.
No,
No
it's
wonder they
like
get 2 flakes a day. So
Joy is saying, we feed hay all year round. We don't have storage for round bales. They've been spending between $8.50 and $10 a bale.
Oof.
Yeah, up north, I know you guys are spending a lot more on hay. You just don't, it's not like when you drive down Southern Virginia and you just see like there's everywhere's land. Like there's just tons of hay rich land. And then you go up north, and when I've been up there now a couple of times and actually driven around, it's like, I mean, it doesn't seem like they have like the meadow area so much as they have a whole lot of woods. It's like just
That's
not
right.
right for hay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys, MA2, and are you going to Southern Series? Are you doing the next one?
I am.
When's
Yeah.
your next competition? Okay.
Yep. Southern Series. Yep.
All right. So what's on your mind coming into the next competition, guys? Thoughts, hopes, dreams, fears?
Melissa, you go first.
I Stella does not love the footing down there as much, or she didn't last year, but she was a lot weaker last year.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping she like remembers that like it's gonna be fine. Because she, she likes to have a little bit of flair when she has an attitude, but she was like way hot last week, like, and she's not really like I'm big on flatting, like most people are, and so like we were just trying to flat her, and she was like wild.
Oh,
Like truly wild, and like that's really not her personality. So I think she just got like the my game's pony vibe. So like I'm like I don't even know if we're gonna play any games before we go. Like it's all just gonna be like reminding her that like, she
Flat.
has a brain. And then Kendall, one of my best friends, is riding Shy. So I'm really hoping that Shy like steps it up because she actually can, like she can move out and she can do all those things. Like she just like was galloping speed weavers.
Yeah.
Like she can do it, but it's for her. It's like, is this rider capable of forcing me to canter? So I'm really hoping that like they both behave themselves. One calms down and one like it gets excited.
Speeds up.
So we'll see.
It's always fun. I always love it when people are using like my horses, just showing up and seeing how they perform and everything, and getting to kind of like fangirl and cheer them on and coach and stuff. Yeah. It always like makes you super proud when they actually like do well, and you're like, that's my girl. That's
I know.
my boy.
It's really fun. It's been fun to like lend out, because I never lent Show out. She was like not the kind of pony that you could just sit on and ride.
Yeah.
Like, so it's been really fun to like kind of lend my ponies out a little bit more and like get to see other riders make them like look great. It's rewarding. It's really cool to see that. So
no, and it's honestly like the foundation of our sport is people allowing other people to get on ponies and actually feel like what the sport would be like on something that has some experience. It's really hard, like when you are starting from the ground up on something that's never seen games ever before in its life. So I think that's like, and even in my head, I'm like always kind of passively shopping because I'm like, one, I want a husband's like horse that's definitely not above 14.3, so it can also be a low now games pony.
That's what Flynn was supposed to be, but he's definitely not 14.3. Don't pony shop in the dark, okay? They end up way bigger than you thought.
Val said it's always my goal to have ponies that can be loaned out at most levels. No, it definitely, like, that's why I think it's so good for people to build up having, if you can afford it, a second pony that is kind of there in case something happens to your pony, right? But also the opportunity to be able to loan periodically is so huge, because that could be the thing, like the turning point for some person to get them into the sport.
Caitlin, I literally just made a face because, okay, story time. Caitlin says, I can't wait for Carly to use Scotty in a vaulting race this weekend. Apparently my team signed me up to use Scotty, and I wasn't even like a part of that conversation.
No, you weren't.
And I just came in literally, I think, the next day and was scrolling through, and everyone else had already decided that I'll be riding Scotty, and I'm like, okay.
You're gonna be great. You just gotta jump.
Y'all are gonna see that I actually can't vault, and it's not Remington's fault at all. It's just me.
It's terrible. It's just gonna be the quick up. No, I think it'll be really good because Scotty is genuine and he just kind of sends. So for you, it's gonna be all about getting out of your own head and just getting up.
Right?
Do it fast.
Right.
Otherwise, like. Shannon, Scotty is a great pony. Exactly, Kate. He picks you up. He does. He just like, I don't know. It's nice to have an honest, true send on a horse.
I've never had a pony that picks me up.
Like you can jump though. I feel like Happy was a bit rough too, actually. Now I'm thinking about it.
Happy didn't
may have nearly died.
Because like I don't think she'd ever been taught to send. So really, her experience of sending was me riding her at Morgan Park. Yeah, maybe a little.
And Hero is not the most honest, kind of like Remy with getting a little bendy,
wiggly.
But you did vault him.
Yeah, last year I was vaulting Charlie at home. Yeah. Fine.
So
it's 14.3.
And so much of it is like the concerted effort of consistently getting out there and vaulting. Yeah. And if it falls off the priority because you have life to live, like it gets a lot harder, I feel like, on a difficult horse to make it up.
I haven't vaulted since MA1, so I'm just as guilty as everybody else.
I need to practice tomorrow. I really gotta practice my vaults. Lord, give me strength. I haven't practiced them going into the season like at all. I don't know where I've been. I've been somewhere else working.
I'm just really glad that I had gotten a little bit more confidence in my vaults before having to take the season off, because it would have been really hard for me to come back next year and have like any ability in my head like to get there.
Right.
And now I'm like, all right, that's my big goal, I think, is to have that confidence come back after having, you know, a kid, which is going to be great. But with the fitness is actually just getting back up.
Yeah.
So it's going to be huge. So if I can do that, I'll feel super, super successful. So yeah, we did decide that if Kate has to sit any vaulting races, that will force you to ride Scotty, because at least Scotty runs straight. And Remington tries to bash your brains in half the time.
Yeah, that's probably true. I would like to see someone else vault my pony too, because I feel like someone else with more confidence can do it. My problem
I miss, since I saw Shannon here. Shannon, I really miss watching your vaults. One, you are such a good vaulter. Even if you don't think you are, you're an incredible vaulter. But two, you are one of the few people I've seen that has a super strong offside vault. And all of your vaults are offside, right? And so to me, that's super awesome when you have a pony like Remington, because you could literally throw like him for a loop if you have somebody canter down, get off on the wrong side, and vault on the wrong side. And I've seen ponies that literally are so obstinate on correct side vaults, and you do an offside and they're just like, okay. And it almost like breaks the cycle for them, because they can't do all of their normal behaviors, but you're still successful.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shannon, if you ever want to come to a competition, there's Sun and Fun and I'll find you a pony. I'm just saying. And maybe you can vault Remy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna vault my pony. Or if I could figure out how to get corner vaults to be a thing, but he doesn't maintain his canter around. He doesn't maintain his speed around me, so I can't really do corner vaults. That's something that maybe I can work with him.
Ashley Dagan slays the offside vault. You're right. Actually, I forgot about that. She does. She can vault both sides. It's ridiculous. Like how? Stop.
I think 14-year-old me could offside vault, but I haven't. I'm not sure I can do that.
Try it. Just try it if you haven't done it, because it feels so weird.
I can't mentally process it.
It's just like
my brain is like
throwing a leg in the air.
Because Shy will just like trot forever. Like she just trots, and so I feel like if I could do it on anyone, I could do it on her. But she's got a big old neck, so like she'll just pull you up even if you don't think she will. Because like maybe I'll try it on her and see, but I don't know.
It's Margot said, Pony Club tryouts makes you learn that it's all mental. Like, the only thing that's holding you back is you. You're the problem.
That's what I keep saying.
Oh my gosh, Zoe, I can hardly stirrup up on the offside. Oh my gosh.
You guys should practice that. That is a good skill to have.
Yeah, just in general. Like, what if you're out on a trail ride, you're 10 miles from home, you break your ankle, you have no cell phone because something awful happened to your cell phone, and now you have to get on your pony from the wrong side, Zoe.
You just made up the worst experience ever.
But I mean, it's definitely possible though. Like, or you could break your arm and ride in a cast with your arm still mostly shattered, and it's a lot easier to get on the other side.
Yeah, nobody would do that though.
No one would ever do that.
The trainer actually that has Rune right now, shout out to Kim. She got chucked by a young warm blood into their solid wood fence, and literal, oh my gosh, her wrist was like bent, like. So anyway, she just had surgery on it, but she does rodeos like competitively and is very, very successful at it. And so she has a rodeo coming up this weekend, and the entry fee is $1,600 for this rodeo. And even with a full week's notice, they won't refund her money or allow her to sell her entry. So she's like, okay, screw it. She's just going to compete. She's borrowing someone's saddle that has Velcro, like it's an actual Velcro saddle. So you just tack into it. And then she's going to go out there and she's like, at least I'll get the pictures like from the professional photographer. But literally she's like fully casted. And they're like, yeah, you can ride like that, but we won't refund you.
Wow.
So anyway, yes, there are people who ride with totally broken arms, and
I definitely went to several gymkhanas in the legitimate cast that they gave me. So, but my surgeon had a don't ask, don't tell policy. He knew I rode horses, and he refused. He never once told me I was not allowed to ride a horse.
Good.
But he never also asked if I was riding the horse. So, I mean,
Exactly.
I ran. Nobody said anything. They just kind of you do you. So, yeah, I mean, I was just out there in my whole
Yeah, I've
nobody
definitely
said anything.
when I slammed my knee into the earth to rupture the back of it in 2015, I want to say. I came off Confetti, who was the nicest pony, and oh my gosh, I wish Carly, Chase, any of these girls were in the picture. There's so many people now I can think of, and has a wonderful one, but the coolest 13 two-hand pony that I had, just too small for me. And came up Prince George's Equestrian Center. It was kind of condensed, right? When you have 4 lanes in there in the smaller arena. And we had done litter, and I came up from litter, and she just drifted just a little bit too wide, and it was at a gallop, and she was headed straight for the pole. And I went on one side of the pole, and she went on another, and I kind of hung on as we went through and cleaved the pole. But then she threw in a little crow hop and just chucked me, and I was so close to the ground that my knee just went straight into the ground, which is a car dash kind of injury, I guess. So it took my whole tibia, and it just shifted it back, and it tore everything. And anyway, I had already entered my warm blood in a big event because we had qualified for something down at Virginia Horse Trials, and that was 3 weeks later. So I just taped the crud out of my whole knee and braced the whole thing, and I was I am still going to this event. I'm still competing. I don't care. It was not functional. I could not walk, but I was on the horse, so that's what matters.
What other sport is like that, where people injure themselves horribly, mangle themselves, and then they still get on within several weeks later to do the same thing?
I think part of it too is because we literally are in abject poverty, and we save up meals and meals worth of food, and we enter these things, and we're this is so many Chipotle dishes that I could be eating right now.
I didn't eat out for 6 weeks, so I could go.
Yeah.
So much sacrifice. It's no, I'm not gonna miss this. That would be so much worse. Kimberly, is that when Ash almost dumped you into the water? Girl, I stayed on. Stayed on.
Almost. Keyword.
Almost is key. But yeah, he definitely tried to dip out of the water then. Zoe, well, I'll die then. I think that was my 10 miles out, broke your ankle situation, but no, you'd be fine. You'd be fine. Find a way. Kimberly, I like the surgeon. Don't ask, don't tell. That's basically been my maternity care. All of those people, that whole team, they're oh, you ride horses. Don't talk about it, please. Thanks. You're not even supposed to ride a bicycle when you're pregnant, guys. A bicycle. And it doesn't even have a mind of its own. So
really?
Yeah, because
I didn't know all of these rules.
Yeah, no, all of these things because of contusion and whatnot. And I was man, what about driving a car? And what if somebody gets into a car accident? How many infants are killed in the womb in a car accident? And I did the research, guys, and it really doesn't happen. And it's because we're super well padded, and I'm definitely well padded right now. So I figure as long as I tuck and roll, it's when you get to the point that you can't tuck and roll, that's when it becomes a concern.
Okay. So, fair enough. Caitlin, stop your joking.
I'm serious, no biking. That is a thing. All right, guys. So Carly, you never actually talked about your expectations for MA too.
I didn't. I thought I was going to get out of it, actually. I was oh, we're almost done. I don't have to talk about this.
Dodge that.
Okay, my expectations for MA2. I like the looks of the race list, honestly. A bunch of stuff we don't normally get to play, they have rubber ducky and keyhole and stuff. So I'm looking forward to doing all of that. I think after MA1 and Remington's outburst of the second session, I'm going to go into second session at MA2 a little bit differently, mentally, physically, and prepare for his temper tantrums and things like that. I'm going to have to just ride him differently, which is a little frustrating. He's like a completely different beast, literally the same day, just second session. But team-wise, I'm very, very excited. We have Megan, Caitlin, Ashley, Dagan, who we were just talking about, correct?
Yep.
Did I say her last name right?
Yep.
And then Jace. Am I pronouncing her name correctly?
Is it Jace?
Jay-Z,
Somebody
I think
can
it is.
comment here. And by the way, guys,
I
this
say
is
it wrong
the very
every single
first,
time.
the very first Unbridled Live that I've actually been able to successfully stream to Instagram, because Instagram, you have to open into a separate portal and you have to drive the link over. And I just checked in there and realized that there is like 100 comments from people who've been watching.
Oh
that
no!
didn't get picked up over here. So I'm going to read through a couple of them.
Do it.
So I'm sorry, guys, if we've totally missed you. I'm still learning how to navigate two platforms here. But Rochelle has been over on our Insta chat this whole time. We had Lexi Rice. We had Megan. We actually had Jace. How do you say your name if you're still there? I'm not sure. We had Jesse Findora. Cash is there. Kenny is there. So,
oh my gosh.
Jen is there. Thomas is proud of us for figuring out technology.
Oh, thanks, babe.
So sweet. So I'll go from the bottom up. Rochelle said, Melissa, I'm so happy you and Kendall are coming. I saw their series 2 here. She said that Ellie will be riding in 2 divisions. Girl, been there with 3 divisions, and I'm just going to say it's a lot. So Rochelle said dollar store toolbox and toy hammers is another Hobo Games opportunity.
Ooh.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Jay-Z, I should know your name, and I feel so humiliated right now. I'm sorry. She said that Gatorade bottles for litter 2 just cut the tops off.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the guide. Rochelle, Joust. Didn't the educator that spoke about reffing recently say that Joust might be a game that they may do away with due to equipment malfunctions? You're right. Actually, Alan was talking to us when we were at the reffing clinic, and Alan is kind of the official ref trainer for IMGA. So I think he said that he's taught refs in 14 countries at this point.
Wow.
When he was here, yeah, he was talking about the fact that Joust is one of those races that has more technical malfunctions with it either bouncing up or it being too loose. It's just very hard for you to toggle and make sure that it's dependable equipment, especially when it's being made in different countries with different specs. It's kind of a difficult race to put together. So it'd be interesting if we just moved everything to our tall cones and our Hobo Joust, because that would be consistent.
I spy a new game coming.
Right?
Yeah.
Rochelle said, I really think as a mom of a younger rider, maxing out a final is my vote because it's an honor to strive for when you're riding an open. That is true, right? And I think that's probably the common opinion when you have open and you split them into heats.
Yeah.
Open riders that are at least somewhat contentious in the top are going to want to have as many teams in that final as possible. Now, the thing is as an organizer, they don't really want to just leave 2 teams in the B final. And that's the reason then they pull 3. But it kind of puts you in a position where it's like, if you end up in that bottom half of the heat on Sunday, I think it's kind of a bummer. But it might not be. It could still be really good competition. It just depends kind of on who falls there.
Right.
So, Rochelle said, we held a fun competition in Tennessee where it was rotating pairs. It created such a fun community. We have people tell us that it was one of their favorite competitions. I'm thinking that's kind of like what we do with like the scramble Gambler's Choice pairs. So that's where you shift the teams around as you go.
We did that at Nationals one year too. Krista had that set up where basically every race we would have you're assigned to the front row, you're assigned the back row. The back row would rotate and the front row would stay still. So each race you get a new partner and then they go down the line.
Yeah.
That was fun.
No, and that was really, really cool, definitely at Nationals, because it allowed me to ride with so many people that I would never get to ride with. And it was so cute because there were people who were like, oh, I never thought I'd get to ride with you on this body. And you're like, I'm not sure that's a good thing, but definitely was really exciting to get to scramble. Tom said, it's a technical malfunction when your mother tries to hand you a stick sideways and in her attempt knocks all your teeth out. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that has happened. There's not a single person here who's played for a while that has not nearly had a joust stick or a flag, end up in the face. So
I definitely almost bashed Linda in the head on Sunday with my sword handoff. I'm so good at that.
have gotten a mild concussion because somebody clocked me in the temple with the side of a joust stick at a gallop.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so definitely been there. Zoe Eddington, can we just call it Hobo Joust officially when we make this new game? I think we should. I mean, we've named it now. Kim was saying
been disconnected.
It has. Okay, so Instagram has a cap of 60 minutes unless I want to go and create a brand new thing. But the fact that we got 60 minutes in is actually pretty impressive.
I'm glad you caught those comments before it got disconnected.
Yeah, I don't know if it actually saves it anywhere like it does here. And I'm not sure if it streams. So Instagram is one of those things with StreamYard as a platform. Like they've been lobbying Instagram to get more connectivity. And it's been really difficult. The fact that we can even sync up into live on Instagram now is great. But all of the comments end up over there. And I don't know what happens to them after the live goes away. So
I think they disappear.
I think they're gone forever. Yeah. So we have a couple of outstanding issues. We still don't know how to pronounce Jay's name.
Jay-Z. Jay-Z, I think it is. I think it's Jay-Z because I was talking about her. It's such a pretty name.
I haven't heard it.
Right. I thought it was pronounced Jace, and I think Megan said it was Jay-Z when we talked at MA1. But I could be wrong, and it takes me forever to remember someone's name as is. I had a lesson kid that I was calling Madison for like 2 weeks in a row, and finally she was like, it's Madeline. And I'm like, oops, my bad. Okay, you told me that, but don't expect me to remember it.
One of my direct reports at work, who's been with the company for probably 25 years, her name is Kirstn.
Kirsten.
I said Kirsten. I've called her Kirsten. I've called her Kirsten for a year. And then like somebody walks over and they're like, her name's Kirsten, right? I was like, Kirsten?
No. She could have told me, thanks.
I asked her, and she's like, yeah, it's Kirsten, but I just didn't have the heart to tell you.
Oh my God.
I feel so ashamed.
That's exactly how Kirsten is spelled, so.
Right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard. No, it's almost like you have to ask people how to pronounce their name. Otherwise, I get called all kinds of weird things.
In my brain, I still call you Guinevere.
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 I've been Genoa. Like I don't even know where these things come from. Joy just said yes, plastic, and I'm not sure what that means. Sword wings. Yeah. Are they still plastic? Okay. Sorry, Joy, guys. It's been a long day. Okay, so I'll get to share my little ribbons.
Your little ribbons?
My little platter ribbons.
I'm dying to hang one of those on that wall. I'm just saying. Like, I need one for the wall.
I need to like host a competition between us so that I can make cool ribbons for them. But anyway, I have literally been just making ribbons for like ever. This is just some of the first place prizes. But anyway, so my brain is complete mush. Just complete and utter not here. So. Kimberly, like, I can't even read this. I don't know what you just said.
Guinevere errands on Acheron. Clear
at fence 4. Oh my gosh. Well, it's 9:19, so we made it an hour, guys. Any closing thoughts before we head off to MA2?
Everybody plays clean and safe, and I wish I could be there. I just can't do that much travel in a week. I'm not good enough.
We'll catch you up on MA2, and you've got to catch us up on the Southern Series and how it goes the following week. So
I hope it goes well. So
It's going to go great. And we hope it goes well for our team too. It's going to be
for sure.
A final is what we're pushing for, guys. Even if we're bottom of A final, got to fight for it. That's
Gotta
our
fight
hope.
for it. Let's do it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for
All
joining
right,
us
team.
tonight. You've been great.
Thanks so
guys.
much. Have a good one. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Bye. Maybe we'll bye.